It's interesting how you start to create these new relationships with people when you connect on certain levels. When other people find out that you've been on a similar path that they have, they start to look at you differently and understand that you kind of get it. I didn't entirely understand this till I went through my experience of cancer. And I started to have this undeniable understanding that some people need to vent, but they want to do it and they want to connect with people who get it. They've been down that road. All the others that are there for them and they share their sympathy and wish they could help, they appreciate it. But it's different when you're talking to someone who's on a similar or same journey and they have a different perspective, a much deeper understanding of the rawness of it. And I started to see that after I wrote my book. And after I wrote it, I started to be on social media. I avoided social media like the plague. It was something I wanted absolutely no parts of. But as I started to get on there and share some of my perspective, my understanding, my appreciation of life, and again, I did it for me. I did it because it made me feel better. There was no marketing plan. There was no goal. I just did it because I needed to find some catharsis to alleviate the fear and anxiety that was built up inside of me. And I started to get connections. Again, I fought social media. I didn't want any parts of it. And there's this evil underbelly to it, which I have never encountered. But I started to connect with people all over the world that were on similar paths, that dealt with family members going through difficult times. And it was euphoric in some ways that it's not just me, it's others. And if you're getting something from me, what you don't realize is I'm getting more from you. And there was this mutual connection that was being built in so many different capacities. I then started to speak. I started to share my story, the understanding of financial planning, how to truly be there for people when things are bad. And as I would speak, I noticed, as many of you heard me say, cancer's like buying a car. You buy a car, you leave the lot, you see the car everywhere. Well, the car was always there. You just never noticed it till you had a direct connection to it. And that was cancer for me. I started speaking about it and I realized it's everywhere. Every family has some encounter with it, some connection deeply with it. And I started to meet more and more people and connect with them and share stories. And they would tell me how much they appreciated what I was writing and the notes and all that. I was the one appreciating it. And I was giving a speech one time in Houston. And I was doing it for a good friend of mine named Karen Graham down in Texas. And after I gave this presentation, it was her actually and Kim King, I'm sorry. And after I gave the presentation, we connected with people, shared, talked about my story, about better ways to build deep-rooted connections with people. And it's about what happens in the heart, what happens right here. All the other stuff is just shtick. And after I gave this presentation, a couple weeks later, Kim reached out to me. And she said a good friend of hers, Shawn, he'd come down with brain cancer. And would I mind reaching out to him? And I said, absolutely not. And we started these conversations, and we started connecting, and we would talk back and forth. And I always refer to us as warriors. I would check out, how you feeling, warrior? How you doing? And I had a grade 3 astrocytoma, which is aggressive. He had a glioblastoma, which is even more aggressive. Young guy, beautiful family. He would always send me pictures. I always look at him. And we never actually met in person. But we built this inspirational component that we each took from this amazing relationship that we had. And as time went on, he was doing better, I'm doing better. We would keep checking in. And we would be busy and go in our different directions and all that stuff. But there'd be that random, hey, warrior, how you doing? I was on a call today with a friend of mine from Houston. And my friend was looking to bring me in to do a speech and connect and share with people for him and his clients and their prospects and all this other stuff. And it was great talking to him. And he asked me if I knew Shawn. I said, yeah. I said, I love the guy. I haven't heard from him in a while, though. And I found out about a month ago Shawn passed away. And it hit me. You get used to it. You deal with it. I mean, cancer may take us physically. It will never take us spiritually. The legacy that he leaves will always be what he's remembered for, not for cancer. But it hit me a little bit today. Hug your kids. Let people know how much you love them. Take a moment and appreciate that now, because things can happen out of nowhere. And I do this in tribute to you, Shawn. I miss you, I love you, and there's no doubt in my mind we'll continue to communicate.